Hello, so let's talk about pre-writing and brainstorming. This is going to be the first step in your writing process, and though we are talking about this in regards to a specific essay project, you're going to want to do this for every essay that you write in your academic career. And then if you use writing later in life, pre-writing is still a great tool. There's lots of different types of pre-writing. These are the ones that we are going to talk about today. And then after we talk about them, you are going to try some of them out. So, free writing. We're going to start here because this works for a surprisingly large number of people. This works for creative people, it works for more analytical people. There's almost something magical about the ideas that you can generate when you are free writing. So, free writing is an informal method of writing about your ideas. Essentially, what you are going to do is just put a piece of paper in front of you or your laptop and write as quickly as you can for either a set length of time or an amount of space. So, I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes and write for 10 minutes, or I'm going to write until I fill up the page. If you already know a subject that you want to explore, you can write it at the top of the page and then just get to work. If you don't have a subject yet, then my suggestion is just write until the time ends. When you're free writing, if you can't think of anything to say, write that. I can't think of anything to say until you have something to say. And then once the time is up or the page is full, you just go back through what you've written and see if anything sticks out to you. Are there any important passages that you want to underline or any pieces that interest you? This opens up our brain in a way that might surprise us because it allows us to just sort of get the thoughts that are in our head onto a piece of paper. These are just some examples of what this might look like. These are just students who are jotting down their ideas. Remember that when you're free writing, you're just writing absolutely every thought that pops into your head. You're not editing yourself. You're not attempting to create an essay. That's not what you're doing here. You're just writing down your thoughts. Now, if you try this and something clicks and you produce really interesting insights or thoughts, you come up with some great ideas, your brain and you are just jiving, you're having a good time together, and this you find is really successful for you, then I'm going to suggest that you try looping. Looping, the second type of pre-writing that we're talking about, is just a more focused version of free writing. Essentially what you do is you free write for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you're going to look at what you've written, pick out the most important thought or idea, and then just write one clear sentence summarizing that thought or idea, and then go for another loop or another round of free writing. I guess what I was trying to say is, or what surprises me most from what I wrote is. Now, I will say this, if you try free writing and you spend the entire 10 minutes saying, I can't think of anything to write, then maybe that is not the one for you. And that's totally fine. If that's the case, then I suggest you skip looping too and try another form of pre-writing. Listing, our third form of pre-writing that we're going to talk about today, is just simply listing your thoughts or ideas that you have about your topic as they come to you. You can maybe want to start with a list of potential subjects. Don't try to limit your list. Just kind of write whatever comes to your mind, but then look at relationships between items on your list. What patterns do you see? What other ideas occur to you? Write those down, and then go back and play with those lists. Arrange the items on the list so that they make sense to you, that they're in a logical pattern or order. This can also serve as a great start to an outline. So here is just some examples of what pre-writing listing might look like. Here on the left, we see a student is just writing down ideas that are important to them. On the right, we see a student writing down significant events and kind of what they learned and some patterns maybe we can pick out of this list. Clustering is going to be the next form of pre-writing that we talk about. This is essentially a way of generating and connecting ideas visually. If you're a very creative person or a very artistic person, or it helps you to see everything printed out in front of you, this might be a good method for you to try. It's easy to see how various ideas relate to one another, or how different topics and subtopics are connected. You probably tried this before, probably, in elementary school. But some people take it to like extreme levels. You do not have to be creative or artistic to do this. If this works for you, go for it. If you try this and it is not beautiful, the work that you create, that is totally okay. Excuse me. But you're just going to put your topic in the middle of a sheet of paper, circle it, and then start connecting different ideas to it. Excuse me. And then connect those subtopics with different ideas that relate to them. You can write down examples, facts, or other details, and then just join them to the appropriate circles. Keep going until you can't think of anything else that relates to your topic. And I have some examples of what that might look like. I have a couple of them. So here's one. We can see that this student is working sort of in the health field or the medical field, trying to come up with some ideas on how to improve health-related outcomes. Here's another one. This is by an artist named Paul Foreman, who does these sort of clustering or mind mapping outlines where he's looking at just different topics. This one is on Leonardo da Vinci. This is the same creator, Paul Foreman, and here he's just kind of talking about his own life story. The next form of pre-writing that we are going to talk about is called cubing. If you are very analytical, if you were the student who you're like, just give me a worksheet and I will fill in the blanks, and that is how I learn, this might be a good method for you to try. Just like a cube has 6 sides, you're going to look at your topic from 6 different sides. You're going to describe it. What is it? You're going to compare it. What is it like? What is it not like? Associate it and classify it. What does it relate to? What groups does it belong in? Analyze it. Think about all of the different parts that make up the overall component. Apply it. What is it good for? What can be done with it? And then argue about it. Argue for or against it. Choose a position relating to your topic and defend it. And then the last one that I have up here, or the second to the last one, is questioning. This is asking questions. Who? What? Why? When? Where? And how? And just going through and asking questions and then answering them. Who does this topic affect? What ways does it affect their life? Why does it affect them? When does it affect them? If you're talking about something that affects children, that's going to be different than something that affects adults or the elderly, for example. Where? Is this a global issue? Is this an American issue? Is this a Southern issue? What is it that you're looking at here? And then how? How does this topic affect people? Or how does this topic affect me? Or how is this actually causing an effect on people? And then this is the last one that we're going to talk about. This is outlining, and we're going to talk about outlining later in a little bit more detail. But essentially, what outlining is going through and organizing the ideas you already have about your topic. If you're like, I know what I want to write about, and I kind of already know what I'm going to say, then an outline is a great tool to use. What you're going to do is think about kind of what information am I going to put in my introduction? What order am I going to put my main ideas or my body sections in? Do I know what supporting evidence or details I'm already going to use? And then you would just go through and create a document that looks something like what I have here typed out on the left side of the screen. And then you're just going to continue for as many main ideas as you plan to include in your paper, and then end it with kind of what information are you going to give your reader in your conclusion. I am going to highly suggest that every single piece of writing that you do in your academic career has some sort of outline. It literally takes just a small amount of time, a few minutes, to create an outline. And this can help structure your essay so that it feels organized and thought out. It doesn't feel like it rambles. It doesn't feel rushed or last minute. These are a few minutes that you can take before you start writing that will have huge benefits for your work. If you have questions about any of these types of pre-writing that we talked about today, just reach out. I'm always happy to help.